5, we will call to order the Community Health Board, and that agenda is on, I apologize, I forgot my computer, 9. So approval of the minutes from December 13th, 2022.
Also move.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Olson to approve the meeting minutes. Any discussion? I will,
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm sorry, apologize. I'll
Yeah.
abstain
Because-
only because I wasn't officially here.
right. And I think, where are the meeting? Yeah, we need to, and I understand, I think this was Rose, and I think she's relatively new. She's got Shack, SHAK, and it should be SCHASC, Shack, State Community Health Service Advisor. I mean, she spelled it like it sounds, but I did catch
Honestly,
that.
yeah.
So just a spelling correction is all we need to do there. So any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right,
One
approved.
abstention.
One abstention, thank you. Chairperson's report, we did have a Shack meeting the other day. It was supposed to be in person and then it ended up being all Zoomed. And I just made some copies of the big issue with the Public Health Department. Now we have a new commissioner, Brooke Cunningham. She has a distinction in that she is a medical doctor and has a PhD in sociology. And her one of her big things is the social determinants of health equity, and those types of things. And if you look at this and listening to the news coming in, we deal with infectious disease, environmental health, prevention and population health improvement, access to health services in that little box. The East Palestine train derailment. I mean, what a horror story. And that's environmental health. And I just heard that they're actually finally now setting up testing labs on site so that they can test the soils and the water right there. They don't have to send them off to a lab. And so these are all the things that are kind of what health, public health is. And after the pandemic, they're trying to figure out where the lack of policy and infrastructure and everything was and how it will move forward. And so this was just a sheet that they shared with the whole group, kind of outlining what they're doing. We also had the caucus for representations from each region. I think is there 9 public health regions. The state is divided, I think, in 9 regions. And Southeast Minnesota, I'll be the primary, and Mitch Lenz from Fillmore, Houston County will be the alternate to represent on Shack. And the leader from that is a commissioner from Stearns County. And so they're working with Ms. Cunningham and all the staff. A lot of new faces in these state agencies, a lot of new faces. And there's going to be a really, even for Ms. Cunningham, there's going to be a sharp learning curve because of her expenses are great, but it just hasn't been in public health. So it'll be very interesting to see how that moves forward. Commissioner Meyer, did you gather anything different from Shack, the meeting? I know you were tuned in.
Yeah, it was great. It was too bad that it couldn't be in person. I would have appreciated that. I hope to go next time, but I did watch they have orientation videos and some of that stuff. So
Yeah, they're doing a good job trying to get everybody on board. All right. With that, then we'll move into item 4. The consent business is to approve a letter of support for Minnesota Department of Health Budget Period 5 Community Health Board Grant Project Agreement, Priorities for Public Health Emergency Preparedness. And that was on page 77 of our packet.
I'll move. Go ahead. I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Vagley, second by Commissioner Meyer to approve the support letter of support. Is Karen here or on, if she had anything to
She's
share?
on iPhone. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, is there anything that you want to give a 2-minute commercial for?
Not really. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's for emergency preparedness, that, the public health emergency preparedness, like we were just talking about at Shack the other day. Commissioner Ward and Commissioner Meyer with, the train derailment. We're talking about potentially doing some tabletop exercises in regards to that, just because Winona County has a lot of rail traffic here. And so we want to be sure that we have our ducks in a row should something like that happen here. So no, I mean, I really think it's a pretty straightforward document.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. All right. General business, anything to come before the health board? When we were doing the shack, and it might have been after Commissioner Meyer wasn't able to get back on, we did talk about like a little bit what's going in our public health thing. And I did share that we're considering, we had combined health and human services a number of years ago, thinking we were quote saving money and doing the right thing. I said, we're kind of rethinking some of that. And a lot of other people were too, especially since the pandemic and how everything was in line with community health. Being that we got a couple minutes, just one other thing too is I think Ben Klinger has shared the armor radio needs. As you can identify with any kind of tragedy like the train derailment, how important the communication element is and how much money we need. I know both Representative Plowski and Senator Miller got copies of that just so they can identify when they're talking armor. I know they always like to know how Winona County is impacted. And I want to thank Ben for putting that together. We're actually we have a statewide legislative meeting Thursday morning, and they asked that we discuss that and that each region has a plan like that laid out so the state legislature knows how much money it really needs to take a community operating through any kind of disasters or anything like that. If there's nothing else, I guess I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Vagley to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
If there's anyone here in the audience that would like to make a public comment, would you please step forward to the microphone, tell us your name and address, and tell us what your thoughts are. Please try to keep your comments to 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Linda Johnson. I live at 32530 Bobcat Road, La Crescent. The liberties of a people never were nor ever will be secure when the transactions of their rulers may be concealed from them. Patrick Henry. Now, I haven't lived in Winona County that long. However, I'm trying to be more involved in the government here. I've been attending county board meetings and requesting data pertinent to Winona County. From my observations, I think Patrick Henry's quote is quite fitting. I think this board has a tendency to not be very transparent to the people. A few weeks ago, you heard me speak about a part-time job that was, shall I say, in my opinion, arranged and then approved by the board. This seems to be a precedent here. Tonight, we are once again being informed that someone who has not applied for a job within the last 5 years, but did an interview for such a job yesterday is the candidate that is on the agenda to be approved here tonight. I'm sorry, I do not feel you're working towards transparency or working for the people. I could be wrong, and I hope you can prove that to me. But until then, I will keep coming and scrutinizing the job you're doing and hope that you can make it a great day to live in Winona County. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in the audience that would like to share their thoughts with us?
Good evening. My name is Mike Kennedy. I live at 316 West 7th Street. I'm here tonight to speak to your motion to okay the HKGI proposal for the housing study. I'm the vice president of the EDA. Dwayne was unable to make it tonight, so I drew the short straw.
Oh, we have cookies. Come on.
Yeah, I saw those. Had one on my way out of the house. I'm here to speak in favor of the HKGI company that we selected out of, I think, 5 proposals we had. And they were pretty extensive, everything from very expensive and very involved to some that I didn't feel were qualified. It was interesting experience for me, having not done a lot of that level of reading proposals, but pretty obvious after you read some that are extensive and others that are really not qualified. But it was pretty easy to decide on this HKGI. I think there was only one concern. They're located in Minneapolis, but they do a lot of business with the city, have done a lot of business with the city, and they're very qualified. They were the low cost bidder close to the budget, which was fine. That wasn't really, that was kind of a low criteria points wise on our reviews that we passed around and had members do. But to me, it was an easy decision, and I'd encourage you to honor that and vote on it positively. Okay?
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here in the audience? And if you are participating via Ring Central over the internet, you're also welcome to participate in our public comment period. Please unmute yourself and maybe say something to catch our attention. Is there anyone else? Yep, Mr. Wernet? Wermet? We cannot hear you. No, we don't see that you're muted, but we can't hear you.
How's that?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Bruce Lamette. I'm with CAM Systems. I
Could
do
you tell us
monitoring
your,
for.
could you
Oh,
tell us
go
your
ahead.
name and address? Could you
Oh,
tell us your name and address?
It's
For the
Bruce
record?
Lamette, and I'm at 18379 Marie Drive, Houston, Minnesota. I'm a vendor that's been working with Winona County for approximately 13 years now. I do their alcohol, drug, and GPS monitoring, pre-trial, post-trial. I started back in 2007. I started the Huber monitoring for Winona County to relieve taxpayers of money to allow Huber people to go out to work and have the ability to know where they were at the click of a mouse at work, and not have to send staff members out to check on them. Recently, Winona County is starting a pretrial services, and I have not been invited to be a part of that. And on the agenda 7.7, they're talking with Midwest Monitoring about doing the monitoring for that. And I'm just kind of curious as to how the county came to the ability to ask somebody to do monitoring, but not ask the person that's been doing the monitoring for approximately 13 years for them, with nothing that states that our monitoring company is not doing what we're supposed to be doing. So I kind of, I guess I kind of got a little bit of short notice and about what's going on, but I kind of like to have the county board look at other avenues before accepting 7.7 to look at other monitoring companies and find out why they're not asking a company that's doing monitoring for them, which through probation, tomorrow I'm hooking up 4 people for probation, but yet, and through county services, through child protection services, I do a lot of drug monitoring for them, and I'm still doing that. But why aren't I allowed to do the pretrial services? None of my services have ever been a burden on the county, nor have they been a cost to the county. Other than the cost would be if the county chooses to pay for it, and that's generally through child service protection, not through the jail or pretrial services. Sometimes there's grant money, which I've worked with the county and doing their grant money, and I've been a part of this for several years. So I'm just kind of would like to talk to the county board and ask the county board about that, where they stand with that and where we're going forward with that and how it came to this.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anyone else here in the room or on the internet that would like to participate in our public comment period? And for the final time, is there anyone else here in the room or participating over the internet that would like to participate in our public comment period? Hearing none, public comment is closed. The next order of business is to approve some county board minutes.
I would move to approve 4.1 County Board from February 14th, 2023, and 4.2, the closed session of February 14th, 2023.
I'll second that.
Okay, Commissioner Ward has moved and Commissioner Vegley has seconded approval of the county board minutes under 4.1 and 4.2. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. If anyone is opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Item 5 is to acknowledge the receipt of approved committee minutes.
I'll move to approve item 5.1.
Second.
Commissioner Vegley has moved and Commissioner Olson has seconded the acknowledgement of some of approved committee minutes, which are 5.1 Parks and Environment Advisory Committee meeting of November 1st of 2022. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. If anyone's opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Next is the consent comments and approval of agenda. Commissioner Ward.
I would like to pull with the comments from the open mic 7.7 for further discussion.
Okay.
And then I would propose a board action.
Commissioner Olson.
Nothing for me.
Commissioner Vegley.
And comment, please.
And Commissioner Ward, you just pulled the one item, 7.7?
Yes.
And we'll make that 8.00.
Sure.
Okay, and I have just some reports from committee meetings. Okay. So in order to move forward, we would need an approval for the agenda as modified.
I'll move, go ahead, I'll
I'll second.
I'll move to approve the amended agenda.
Okay. Commissioner Ward has moved and Commissioner Vegley has seconded the agenda as was amended. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. For the record, Interim Administrator Holte, could you read the consent business for us?
Absolutely. 7.1, approve applying for DNR outdoor recreation grant for Apple Blossom Park infrastructure. 7.2, approve HKGI professional services contract for 2023 housing study. 7.3, approve resolution in support of House File 735, providing ongoing financial support to Soil and Water Conservation District. 7.4, appoint Commissioner Meyer as alternate for Regional Emergency Communication Board. 7.5, approve LG 220 gambling application for exempt permit, Ridgeway Elementary School PTA, excuse me. 7.6, approve letter of support for Minnesota Department of Health, Budget Period 5, Community Health Board Grant Project Agreement Priorities for Public Health Emergency Preparedness. 7.8, approve renewal of grant and business associate agreements with City of Winona through Winona Friendship Center for Advocacy, Information, and Referral Services. 7.9, approve resolution to submit, adopt, and implement WinLAC Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan. 7.10, approve joint powers agreement for implementation of WinLAC Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan. 7.11, approve Ultra Well Sealing Grant Agreement. 7.12, approve resolution for solar energy system security deposit agreements for decommissioning and vegetation management. 7.13, approve agreement with Minnesota Pollution Control Agency for operation of household hazardous waste program and State of Minnesota. 7.14, accept certificate of performance and authorize final payment for CASA 12 and reconstruction in Ridgeway. 7.15, award bid for CASA 1 resurfacing project. 7.16, approve resolution establishing the need and responsible governmental unit for an EAW for the CASA 30 reconstruction project. 7.17, confirm payment of disbursements.
Point of order, so I can move to approve both the committee recommendations and the department recommendations, right?
I believe so.
I'll move to approve the consent items under both committee recommendations and department.
Second.
Commissioner Bagley has moved and Commissioner Olson has seconded approval of the consent agenda as it was read. Is there any further discussion? And hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Motion carries. We move on now to what was 7.7, which is 8.00. Approve the purchase and service and business associate agreements with Midwest Monitoring.
And thank you. I asked to pull that with the concern that we heard from Mr. Wilmette. And I did ask a question previously, and was the reason it didn't go out for bids, was it the dollar amount that the contract is? It doesn't require bids?
Correct.
Okay. But I guess to answer his questions, and I don't know if we can do that tonight, or if you want to do a little more research, or he is a vendor, and to not use the current vendor is concerning.
I want to just clarify that this request for purchase of services is not the pretrial monitoring program that is a pilot program that we have put together through Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. This is monitoring services that Health and Human Services uses for child protection cases and for juveniles who are placed out of home or not out of home, and they can be monitored. So, I believe Mr. Wilmette was incorrect when he referenced that this was the pretrial services monitoring. That is a pilot program that we're doing, and it is paid for by the user of the monitoring system that we're using. And so there is no contract with anybody. But this item, 7.7, is for Health and Human Services. And as Ms. Holte indicated, actually under the Uniform Municipal Contracting Law, which this really doesn't apply because you're not buying a product. I mean, you're not buying construction or supplies or things like that. But anything 25, let me get it right here. I pulled that. It's 25,000, but not over 175,000. The contract can be made either upon sealed bids or by direct negotiations by obtaining 2 or more quotes when possible and without advertising for bids or otherwise complying with the requirements of competitive bidding. So I don't know the particulars of how this contract came about. I guess that would be Ms. Sanis's area, but my office did review this in terms of the legalities of did we meet the legal requirements. And again, the Uniform Municipal Contracting Law really applies more to construction, repair, maintenance of real or personal property, so it doesn't apply to the services. It's within that realm of not requiring an open bid process. So.
Okay. Well,
Mr. Olson had,
Just something you just said. So you said 2 or more bids. Did you get 2 bids or you don't need to get 2 bids?
I don't know what the particulars of how this contract came about from the Department of Human Services. But I did want to make it clear that this is not the pretrial services monitoring program that Mr. Wilmette referred to.
Okay.
So, yeah.
it is a different.
Yeah.
Mr. Ward?
Well, so yeah, we're dealing here with there is a breakdown, and from what I've heard, and yes, Mr. Wilmette has contacted me in the past, and so I knew of him, and the question is that if he didn't get a chance to even look at it, and he's been doing good work, his story is he's been doing good work, doing the job that was asked to be done, has never received any negative feedback, why wouldn't we consider somebody that is already doing this somewhat similar work, I'm assuming? And Ms. Holte, if you have something more to share?
Administrator Hopi or Karen? Is it Ms. Santa?
So I was going to ask if she was still on or not. Most certainly I'll defer to her if she would like to speak.
Sure, sure. Thank you. So what we have never had a contract with CAM Systems. And one of the issues that we have run up against is because we work with juvenile protection and child protective services, a lot of our information is confidential. So we need to have a contract and a business associate agreement in place to assure that confidentiality. This is one of those situations where we have walked into it thinking that we have the contract and there was potentially not a contract in place. So I need to assure that we need to have this in place. We also have run up against some child protective services primarily uses this service for what is called the sweat patch or a drug patch to monitor families or parents that are in our child protective services area for drug use. But we also have to understand that my budget also pays for juvenile justice clients that are run through the Department of Corrections. So they are the ones that are using the electric home monitoring. We don't use a lot of the electric home monitoring in Health and Human Services. I know that there has been a switch towards Midwest monitoring with our adult services in probation. So that is kind of why we have elected to go to that process.
I would like to table this item and let Mr. Wimet look, what's been provided us, and if he can do the job and wants to put in a bid, I think it's only fair for somebody that's currently doing business with us, and he says he can do these types of things. Now, I know he hasn't seen what's in here, but is this very time sensitive that we couldn't delay actions until April meetings? Or March, I'm sorry, March. And I'm asking,
No, it is not time sensitive.
okay, all right. So I would table until we get a Mr. Wimet opportunity to look and see if he can be,
Is that a motion?
that's a motion.
I'll
To
second
table.
that.
Okay. Commissioner Ward has moved to table item 8.00, which used to be 7.7, which is to approve a purchase of service and business associate agreements with Midwest Monitoring, and Commissioner Olson has seconded it. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please, and let me add that the table would be till one of our meetings in March.
Yes.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Motion carries. We now move on to general business 8.1, discuss and or appoint citizen advisory committee volunteers. We had 3 applications for the planning commission, and there is 1 vacancy.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Ward.
I would, all good applicants, and it's unfortunate when we have all good applicants to have to only pick one. But I would have to advocate for, and I know it's you as the chair make the decision. I would have to advocate for Mr. Miller. We haven't had anybody from the St. Charles area for some time. And that's, outside the immediate Winona and Goodview area. St. Charles is our biggest city. I am a little bit disappointed. They're all from cities. They all live in town. They're not rural landowners that I'm aware of. But I just think that end of the county, we need to be aware that they are part of our county and recognize their input and impact to Winona County. I know a lot of times, sometimes it gets, things get, the Olmsted County area is right there by the fairgrounds, so it's close. But I think Mr. Miller being a businessman, both of Mike's Food Center, and I believe he has the hardware store in St. Charles also. So I think he would have a good feeling of the people from the St. Charles area to represent them on the Planning Commission.
I don't know.
Well,
Motion, I guess, to make a recommendation.
yeah,
I will,
Yeah.
I will vote for whom I like during the voting, but I will appoint who the majority of the board votes for. So
so I guess if you want a motion, I would move to highly recommend Mr. Miller as the Planning Commission member.
I'll second that.
Okay, Commissioner Ward has moved for Michael Miller and Commissioner Vagley has seconded it. Is there further discussion?
I'm just not going to support the motion because I'd like to know who you feel
Uh,
as chair.
Yeah,
That you'd like to
my
appoint.
personal favorite would be Mr. Nicholson. But I will abide by the vote, so.
Yeah, and as I said, well, Mr. Nicholson just lives down the road from me. He's again, very qualified candidates. It's unfortunate we get three good qualified and we have to pick one.
So further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed signify by saying nay.
Nay.
Nay. Okay. Motion fails.
I'll make a motion for Mr. Nicholson. I did read his resume, his lengthy resume that was emailed, and I just found it very intriguing of his publications and patents and worldwide travel and what he does, and they make good boots, so that's who I'm going to support.
I will second that. Okay, Commissioner Olson has moved and Commissioner Meyer has seconded. John Nicholson for the position on the Planning Commission. Further discussion?
Just a point of clarification. Is this then, and Ms. Cawley may know, is this for a full 2 year, we're not fulfilling an empty seat. This would be for a full 2-year term with the option to renew up to the 3 times? It is, yeah, it's not, we're not fulfilling, we're just, didn't have applicants back in December and January. Okay, so it is a full, all right. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
A question. Mr. Ward. I know he lives down the road.
Yeah.
He's another rural resident, other side of the county, but
Yeah, and John will do a fine job, like I say, any of the 3 would be. And being that we have that seat open on the county board that represents that area, I was trying to give that area a little bit more representation, but that will soon hopefully be filled by August. We'll have a new commissioner representing that area.
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay, motion carries. Mr. Nicholson is appointed to the Planning Commission. Item 8.2.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We still have several openings, correct? Ms. Holte, and could you remind me? Openings, I think we have a library board opening, Selco. Yes, and what else? There was something else that was open too.
Personnel Board of Appeals.
Personnel. board.
Censure?
For a citizen? Do we get 2 people?
I think so.
I think Commissioner Meyer is. We
Okay.
can send out a reminder if you like of all of the
I tried to
remaining.
recruit some people, but hasn't.
We'll send out another reminder.
Okay, well, and maybe Well, send out a reminder and maybe Mr. Miller, because that meets in St. Charles? Or does it meet in Russia? Semsha?
Your Semstra, not Semcat,
Oh.
Semstra.
No, we don't need one for Semsha. Southeast
Website
Minnesota.
says there is. Oh,
No,
we don't
I'm
need to
still-
discuss that now.
I'm still there and Laura.
We know, no,
Melky-
no, there are two. You're the elected, I think there's a citizen.
Laura Melky is not, she's our citizen that we appointed.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, so I don't think so. No, I thought you were referring to,
no,
my initials confused, excuse me, Simcat.
no, okay.
Okay.
Okay, moving on, item 8.2. Discuss, modify, or approve the county board ground rules policy. Commissioner Vagley, then interim administrator Holte. That's okay.
I would like to make a motion to approve. We have one copy with the strike throughs, and then we have a clean copy, correct? I'd like to move to approve. Page 204 has the strike through, and then the clean copy comes out.
Right, and the major change was the agendas.
Yep.
Yes,
On page 204, it talks about any two commissioners can
Right.
request an item be added. The committee of the board by each commissioner sending an email to the county administrator. Commissioner can discuss an item of a county board meeting with only one other commissioner. So that addresses the concern about having a serial meeting.
Right.
The board is a standing meeting on the same day of each regular county board meeting, occurs after the morning meeting and before the night meeting, lasts no more than 1 hour, and no formal decisions can be made. And if a majority of the board wishes to move that item forward, it could come back to the next regular board meeting.
My one concern with it is that I was hoping that we would not just require an email, but that if any commissioner wanted to add something to a future committee of the board meeting, that they could do it by just raising it at a meeting as well and getting us their second there. That's pretty easy language to add. Could we add that?
Absolutely. I don't, there's not a second to the motion, but if there was, I would accept that as a friendly amendment.
Mr. Olson?
My concern, and I think it was brought up before, the serial meeting, but perhaps you wanted to have a future agenda item and you contacted another commissioner to send an email and they said, no, they don't support that. So then it just dies on the vine.
Yeah, it has to be discussed at a board meeting. I have to ask for it. And to address Commissioner Meyer's point, we could then discuss it at a board meeting.
My hope was that that language could be added.
unfortunately, it doesn't speed it up at all.
It-
It was cumbersome.
We could just eliminate the email.
We could just all be king or queen for the day and put it on the agenda.
Aren't you eliminating at least one of the three steps?
Yes.
So that's part of this, the better, I mean, one of the good parts of this too. You avoid the three-step process.
Takes it 3 down to 2.
And I do like the addition of, just like I asked tonight for a board action, to bring it up at a public meeting versus the email just is a little more cumbersome.
Sure.
But having both is all, options. So a friendly amendment to add to the item number 2 on page 204, that's a strike through copy, that an email or what wordsmith at the appropriate addition of board action at the end of any regular county board meeting.
I think I need a second first, then we can make that.
Okay, I'll second,
Then I'll
Then-
accept.
accept the friendly amendment.
Yeah, except if I make an amendment, I have to give the gavel. If I make a motion, I have to give the gavel to the
Right,
vice chair.
so
So,
So I made the friendly amendment. You just
Awesome.
referenced it.
way to go. Okay,
I took the lead. All right,
okay.
if that's okay.
And that's one whopper of a run-on sentence, but that's how long we talk, right? But you can, sorry.
Thank you.
Teacher.
Okay.
So,
We
if-
get a lot of that.
Mhm.
all right. So Commissioner Vagley has moved and Commissioner Ward has seconded for approval of the county board ground rules modified such that, differing from the text that we have on page 204, it instead reads, by each commissioner sending an email to the county administrator or verbally requesting with a
During
second
during regular county.
at a board meeting. Okay? Is there any further discussion?
Just point of
For what?
clarification. It's saying that we are having a committee of the board, but there may be some times that we don't have an agenda. So it is the understanding that it's a placeholder, but it can be canceled. And that doesn't get us in any open meeting problems or anything, canceling it. It just
Canceling the,
committee of the board.
Unless it's
yeah,
needed.
right,
yeah.
unless it's needed, right.
Yeah,
There's no
right.
reason to meet
Okay.
for just the sake of meeting.
Yeah,
So,
well, good.
Right.
Interim Administrator Holty.
Madam Chair, if I could ask for clarification on the days in which the committee of the board would be prior to your normal county board meeting, is the intent that you're going to start earlier? Or are we going to keep the same start time and just put the committee of the board first and then have the regular board follow? So I'm just seeking clarification about your start time.
After the morning meeting, correct?
Yes?
That was in there.
Yep.
It's before the night meeting.
Oh, before the night. I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
Yep.
So that meeting is what I'm
I
asking.
assume, yeah, I assumed it meant that it would be before the 7 PM start time or after whatever the end time is.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? We did not vote yet, did we?
No.
Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, item 8.3, discuss potential Veteran Service Officer Advisory Committee.
On page
210.
Commissioner Meyer, if it's okay to make a motion, just to get it up on the table. So the item starts on page 210. On page 211, Commissioner Meyer, you would ask, and it's a very valid question, to type up what I was verbally saying last time.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposal that you find on page 211. I'll read it out loud for the members of the public. So the purpose of the committee would be to review and improve services to veterans in Winona County, to provide community feedback on veteran services, to review the best ways to provide autonomy and accountability for the Office of Veteran Services Officer. The membership would have 6 to 9 total members: the Veteran Services Officer, the County Administrator, 1 to 2 county commissioners, 1 would be enough, 1 to 2, and an equal or greater number of veteran community members. Meetings twice a year, once in late January and once in late July, approximately a 60 to 90 minute meeting. Maybe that's too much information, but that's what when I was talking with Mr. Anderson, he thought that would be more than enough time to do that. So my proposal would be, my motion to approve the proposal on page 211.
I'm going to second just for the point of discussion.
Motion has been moved by Commissioner Vagley and seconded by Commissioner Olson. Is there further discussion? Commissioner Ward?
Just a question on the number of veteran community members. Would we have an application process just like all our other committees and
That's a good question.
make selection
Mr.
or-
Anderson said that he could find a variety of veterans from different wars, different deployments, et cetera, to try to have a range of
Balance.
different ages and different needs, et cetera.
Yeah, and I don't, is it in our zoning ordinance that, for example, planning commission, you can serve it's a 2-year term, you could serve up to 3 consecutive, so 6 years total, and then you're termed out. Is that part of the rules of the planning commission, or is that in general to all our committees? Administrator Holby.
Each of the committees are different, so it's not a set standard across the board
that's definitive in the zoning ordinance?
in the ordinance, correct? But
But I would love
But
to,
other committees?
I mean, my preference would be to see us follow that, would like to have a process exactly like that. And there are rules about if people quit early and if people don't show up for X number of consecutive meetings. I mean, maybe we could adopt it. I don't want to delay this. That's not my goal, but to sort of adopt the process for appointment. Administrator Holte and then Commissioner Olson.
Commissioner Bagley, are you aware of the citizen advisory volunteer policy? It kind of gives the outline of,
Broad umbrella.
yeah. So I didn't know if you wanted to review that prior to kind of having further discussion on the boundaries or rules or how it's set up.
Could we approve it as is and at the first meeting, have the group discuss that and review it and bring it back for part of an amendment to look at
Yep.
adopting that framework or going with the planning commission framework, which does.
Or what? Yeah, whatever. Oh, wait, no, I had the Commissioner Olson and then you, Commissioner Ward. Sorry.
Only, I think, C, under the purpose, is a little bit vague. I think it's up to, right now, they report to the VSO reports to the county administrator, who would provide accountability. I don't think you could put somebody in charge of providing to review the best way that they could be held accountable if you're gonna put them in charge of being held accountable to themselves. Or, you know, we do have oversight on that, and I think that's just a little vague over a purpose. Well, I mean, what would you, how does that purpose come into fruition if they're gonna just review it? Are they gonna recommend, they gonna propose, are they gonna?
Please, oh, yeah. Oh,
So it's an advisory.
please do.
it's
Is
an
that all right with
advisory.
you, Commissioner Ward? Yeah, okay.
So it's just recommendations that come to the board. Nothing happens unless it comes to the board or through the administrator. So it's an advisory committee. So it does not replace the current chain of command or the process, et cetera.
And I think it's a great effort and it's a good, I think we can consider it a pilot project and refine it as we go on. I think to reference item C, I guess I read that as the veterans are going to, you know, again, it's advisory, are going to determine if the services they're getting are, you know, accountable and are providing the autonomy that they need with what the laws are for veterans and the services that they can be provided. So I'm not replacing the veteran service officer reporting to the county administrator for direct accountability and budget and all those things. I'm seeing it as a veteran being able to say, hey, you know, my needs aren't being met and this is why, and that would hold the office in, you know, in an accountability situation. But I think it's a great, you know, it's a pilot project. Let's start it, let's try it, and we can refine it as we move on. And I think with the help of Mr. Tom Anderson, I think it's a great idea to have veterans of different eras because there are different needs. And I think that would be great. But I think maybe at some point in time, we do a application process, just like all our other committees, but have that as a placeholder on the application to know what era they served our country in to make a decision. So I think we had a motion and let's see, Commissioner Olson seconded it.
Yep.
And then just one more question. How would we place this under the guise of our committees for appointments, length of appointments?
I'd be willing to serve for the remainder of this year and next year. Schedule appointments. Would that make the most sense?
But not us, but the
Citizens.
citizens, the citizens advisory committees who serve a specified term.
So in terms of approving the members we could bring, so you want people to apply?
Yeah, as they do
So
with other committees.
if you, because if you start a new committee
Yep.
and everybody has a 2-year term, well, then you turn it over every 2 years. And so you have half of them at 1 year, another half at 2, so you alternate, so you have some continuity.
Can I work with Mr. Anderson to figure out the best way to solicit recommendations?
Yeah.
talk with him to see what he thinks is the best way to do that. Because ideally, if it's the Vietnam era, Desert Storm, Iraq, et cetera, it'd be good to have a variety, but I think he can help us figure out the best way.
He'll know who his audience are. Who his
And
customers
how to best approach and spread the net wide enough to get more folks to respond.
Although I would want us to go through our regular process, which
Yes.
is, I think we publish it in the paper, put it on the website. Yep. Yeah.
Yep, of course.
And heaven forbid we have dozens and dozens of people that want to do this. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. We'll take them. We won't limit them.
We'll make ex officio membership.
Yes.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4, review, modify, approve employment agreement with Maureen L. Holte as county administrator. This is on page 212 of our packet. Mr. Olson, oh, wait, Administrator Holte? Yes.
Madam Chair, may I make just a brief couple of comments before you start your discussion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I've had a little bit of time to think, and first of all, I don't think I shared with the board that I'm more of a processor, so I think things through. It's not that I'm not able and that I don't make quick decisions when I need to, but I'm a processor, so I wanted to share that with you. I think it's important that you know that. The other thing that I wanted to share is that I do understand how employees throughout the organization may feel and perceive things because I came from the ranks. With years, I moved up the ranks and eventually into management and into administration. So I do understand how staff may feel, at any level of the organization. I also wanted to share that I am passionate about ensuring that the providers in the community are able to provide the services, the programs, and systems for what the citizens need. I'm passionate about that. I want to make sure that it's happening. Now, we aren't going to be able to provide all of those services ourselves as Winona County, but we can be an integral part in making it happen. So I wanted to share that with you. And then just one more comment is that I believe one of my strong points is human relationships or human relations and being able to talk through things, meet people where they're at and problem solve. So I believe that I can help with those communications, both internally and externally, to help overall. So I just wanted to share those comments with you. And thank you for letting me give a couple of moments there.
Thank you. Commissioner Olson first, and then
No, I
Commissioner
didn't have
Vagley.
any.
Oh, that wasn't you?
No, I was
Okay,
just
Commissioner
stretching.
Vagley, and then
Not yet.
no,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Vagley.
To get the table, to get the subject up on, the item up on the table, I'm going to make a motion, and we'll see where this goes. And for the public here and the public at home, this is a difficult process for everyone involved. So please, asking for some grace, et cetera. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the employment agreement with two modifications. The first modification would be, it's item 6A. Item 6A is found on page, well, it's in the, we have to go to the, well, it's actually on page 214, the salary. What I would like to propose is that for item 6A, so I'd like to propose that we approve the employment agreement with two modifications. The first one is I'm not sure if 6A or 8A is the best place to put this. Maybe the county attorney or someone else can help me. Is that
Okay, so this is on page 214 of our packet.
Yep, on page 214, it talks about the county shall pay Maureen Holte for her services as Winona County Administrator an annual salary of $178,624.07. What I'd like to do is to add that a second that the salary start off at $173,938, her current salary. And then by July 1st, a performance review take place, and if upon meeting a positive performance review, that it be increased to the amount listed on page 214, $178,624.07. So I'm adding a in-between step that the current salary, bless you, stay as it is until July 1st. And then after a performance review, then it go up to the amount in the salary.
Okay, so it's the starting one is 173,
$938, is that correct?
938?
That the current salary is, so the current salary stays as is, and we can clarify that.
Yep, 173, 938.16.
Thank you.
Did you have two things?
Yep, and the second one would be on 14C, which is on page 218. Any breach or dispute arising out of, et cetera. I would like to, Commissioner Ward had asked County Attorney Sonneman a great question about adding a mediation step in between. And I think 14C would be the best place to put that. Maybe I'm wrong in terms of before we go to arbitration. Is that right? To add a step that would involve there would be an in-between step before going to arbitration to first use a mediator to help with the discussion. Oh, so that came out terrible. I don't know. So the motion would be to approve with those two modifications. Should I restate that, or is that clear?
I wrote it down.
Okay.
I think I got it.
Would I add a change to the salary proposal as is, and then to add a mediation step into the process? I think 14C is where it would probably be, the addition of the mediation would probably be in 14C, right? Because that's where it talks about shall be submitted. So maybe there would be a comma and then.
But mediation will be attempted prior
Yep.
to.
Makes perfect. Thank you. Yes.
Right.
Does that address Commissioner Ward, what you were asking about?
Yes, those were two of the points. Yes, they were.
So that's my motion, to get it up on the table.
Mr. Olson?
Could I just ask one question about the motion? Under 8A, I know that you said the July 1st, this says 6 months review. So that would be a review occurring at 4 months?
5.
That's why I wasn't sure where to
So-
put it.
Okay. So that way we could
So
address it before the 6 months. Okay.
that's why I wasn't sure where to insert the change, 6A or 8.
Okay.
And that could start the next 6 months, 12 months. I mean, then.
Well, does-
6 months is.
Does that put us in sync with all the other union? We're heavily into union timetables. And usually we start things on the first of the year.
Or,
Salary, wages, it's so.
that's correct.
Okay, so I guess I would prefer to maybe try and keep it on the same. It really doesn't make any difference. I mean, if we went 6 months,
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, if we did this remove the 6 months, have it take place by July 1st, and then it would move to December, the end of the year, right?
calendar, then
Which is really
follow.
another 6 months. pretty
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
Yep, so move calendar year.
Okay, yeah.
So it'll be part of the other evaluation process. So that was my attempt to try to do that thing, Commissioner Ward. Maybe I'm not describing it well, but yes, 8A should probably be revised then as well to reflect that.
Eight A.
Page 215. Maybe we could say the review will be conducted by July 1st, drop off 6 months, and then just add 12 months and annually thereafter.
I do have a point of clarification. All the references to time off, accrued rates and everything is all within our standard policy. There's no, it's by how everybody is treated.
Correct.
Correct. And do we have, so is there a maximum? I know some places of employment, there's a maximum number of days of vacation and sick that can be accrued.
Yes.
Do we have a maximum or,
do. It's 2 years of accrual.
okay, and so you would be within, under that same, okay. I mean, this whole idea, we got to treat everybody alike. I mean, I don't necessarily, adhere to that, but that seems to be our pattern. I always told my children, I don't treat you all alike, you're all different.
This motion does not have.
Yeah, can I ask one more question on this motion? So, and I guess this would be of Commissioner Ward. So you two sat together, or the three of you,
Mhm.
and worked on this? Is this everything that you had concerns with, Commissioner Ward?
It's more lucrative than I had anticipated, but as it is within the realms of how we, do county business, if it's the standard, I can be comfortable with that.
But you won't second the motion?
No. I don't approve union contracts, and that's what I see this as.
It's not a union
I
contract.
see it as, I mean, I'm sorry, I can't divorce my thinking from it.
One more question, and then
Go for it.
I might offer a second. Is this,
You go right ahead.
is this substantially different than the contract that existed with our prior administrator? Or the one before that, or the one before that?
I'm not familiar with the one before Mr. Fritz, but this is substantially similar to,
Okay.
except for the
I'll second it.
arbitration.
Commissioner Vagley has moved and Commissioner Olson has seconded hold on a second here. I did print this out, so I can quick go into there. Okay, the employment agreement is slightly modified. So Commissioner Vagley has moved and Commissioner Olson has seconded to approve the employment agreement with Maureen Holte as county administrator with two modifications. The first of those is that under 6A, the starting salary would be what the current salary is, and July 1st, that salary would change. And then in item 8A, the understanding is it would then go back to the standard process, which is, I think, the 12 months and at the first of the year. And the second change is that mediation under 12B, 14C, didn't write that down, under 14C, mediation would be attempted prior to a binding arbitration. Is there further discussion? Commissioner Ward?
Just, I thought it entertaining in the first page on page 212 and why the statute reads this way, that the administrative, it lists the basic training experience and administrative qualifications and need not be a resident of the county at the time of appointment. But it makes no reference, we're not asking you to move, because I know you have a relatively new house. But it just seems odd to be in a statute. I can understand, and I think maybe it relates to like fire and police and somewhere where sometimes there is a residency requirement.
Time.
Pardon me?
Response time.
Yeah, response time. So I just find it strange that it's still stuck in our statute. We don't clean up statutes though, do we? We just add
Right,
more.
Right.
Yeah, we add
Yeah.
more.
And luckily, there's the internet now, so we're not relying on horse and buggy.
Well, that's not all. Maybe we should read horse and
There's
buggy.
only some fires you can put out with the internet.
Yeah. One other thing, and this isn't with the contract, but I need to ask Ms. Holte to do some research. We had I believe it was a resolution, a separate resolution under county administrator employment, is the amount of money they were authorized to spend without coming to the county board.
I believe it's in the classification.
Okay, all right. And if you know of any other resolutions that we have in the past had, I would like to review those
Okay.
at some point in the near future. Thank you.
So my question is, do I understand that this is acceptable to you, Administrator Holt?
As it was discussed. And I'll work with Ms. Sonneman to make modifications to the contract.
So is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that brings our business to an end. Commissioner Ward, you had a request for board action.
Yes, and I don't know, being that we're adding committee of the board to our agenda, we've always had this night meeting, and I must be getting old. It's hard to leave the house and be here, and I have a half-hour drive and a half-hour drive home to come especially in the wintertime when it's dark.
And now it's
And-
supposed to be snowing.
Yeah, now it's going to start snowing again, and the deer are out in full fledged. I mean, I don't know how many deer I counted coming down. They seem to hover at that twilight. I don't know if we could put a committee of and again, staff time, I'm thinking too. I've got Ms. Holte, I've got Heidi sitting here taking up staff time. If we could move the evening meeting, put a committee of the board if we need it, at 5, and then the county board at 6. And then that still gives us, I think initially when I started, we had evening meetings if we had public hearings or something, so that the farmers could get done milking cows and come in. Well, unfortunately, we don't have enough farmers milking cows, but again, we can be flexible. If it's a major public hearing, we've been flexible in the past, and we've done it at different times. But I just would like to take under consideration, maybe moving it up to give staff, get them out of here a little earlier, and us too. I'm being selfish.
Maybe we should have an age limitation on commissioners.
Oh, you don't want to go there. Age discrimination?
Ooh, watch what you say.
Yeah. I admitted I'm getting old.
So this would be the first example for our brand new policies.
Yes, I
Mhm.
believe so.
I'll second that to go to the next committee of the board for just
Okay.
discussion, right?
Yeah,
And staff input on that.
yeah,
Again, the idea is that we don't ask staff to do too much until we've had a chance to talk through it.
right.
But this is one, maybe some work can be done ahead of time.
Yeah, advantages, disadvantages, logistics. Does it make sense?
School board, 6 o'clock, city council, 6 o'clock as well,
6:30.
6:30. So, and the thing is, it's still dark at 4:30 in the winter, but it would help for a couple months.
Vikings games.
Vikings game?
Thursday or
Monday night
right?
Monday night football? No, or Tuesday
Not on
night.
Tuesdays, but yeah.
Yeah. But I'm thinking actually more in terms of staffing too. I mean, they're sitting here from 4:30 to 7, and I know Heidi drives and Maureen drives a good distance, so I'm trying to think of staff also being more efficient. So I'd like their input.
Okay, so we'll be discussing that further at our first committee of the board meeting.
Of course, we could move the morning meeting up to 5:30. The sun's up at 5:30.
You're still the one that has to drive.
But the sun's up, and the sun's up, I can handle
I actually would like earlier, not that early.
Commissioner
up at-
Bagley, do you have some comments?
I just want to thank everybody who shared feedback regarding the county administrator decision and issue. I spoke with 19 different people, county staff members, community members, heard a wide range of views. Thank you for sharing those views. Please keep doing it. So there was a wide range of views, a wide range of issues. I appreciate that. Keep on doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. I had 3 things. The first of these is that next week on Wednesday, the Minnesota Intercounty Association is having its board meeting, and they are doing some legislative lobbying. So I'm going up to the cities to participate in that. And I will not then on the following day, Thursday, make the Soil Water Conservation District meeting.
Right.
And neither will Commissioner Ward, because
Oh,
she is also has MCIT. So if either of you want to go to Lewiston at 9 a.m. and
So next Thursday, I
uh-huh.
could actually do that because we
The
have-
9th, March 9th, isn't it?
Mr. Elsing knows, he could just tell us.
Yeah, March.
It's the 9th, yeah,
March
no,
9th
it's
at
the 9th. I will forward you, I'll forward the information
Actually, I
to
had a
you.
spring break, so I could do that.
Okay. Second thing, the jail, there's a subgroup to the CJCC called the Jail Programming Work Group. And they are putting together programs for the jail once it opens. So things like educational classes or a whole variety of stuff. So at any rate, Rachel Stoll is heading up that committee and she is looking for groups that might have ideas for things that they would like to present as possible programming for the jail once it opens. So if you know of any groups, let me know. You can just email me at my county email address and I'll send you the information. The third thing, I know that Commissioner Vagley and Commissioner Ward heard this, but we do a community health needs assessment every year. And it came back with the priorities for things for our community. And the Melanie Frazier, who's in public health, is putting together committees for 4 areas: mental health and well-being, health equity, healthy behaviors, and social connectedness. And they're looking for members of the public who would like to participate on those committees. And you would contact Melanie or ask folks to contact Melanie if they had other questions or wanted to participate.
Can she put something like on the website?
I don't,
I'm pretty sure she can.
okay.
So we can reference community members to.
And I have, yeah, okay,
if
sounds
she
good.
Put a little.
That's it. That's all I have.
To adjourn?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Olson is, Commissioner Olson's moved, Commissioner Vagley is seconded, motion to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
There's one thing I actually interested in.